Hi folks, I hope y'all having a great evening. I thought I'd have a lament tonight. Now, not going to be an extremely long video, but I have discovered something over the last couple of weeks. Getting ready for deer season, and I've noticed over the last year or so that Midway USA listed 730 Waters ammunition as being discontinued. And okay, I checked the federal website and they said currently unavailable. Well, the other day I went up to the federal website and there's no mention of the 730 Waters at all. Now, for y'all who don't know what that means that basically they had a revision of their website and they deleted all the information about it. There's still loading data and stuff available from them and things that are whatever about it historical. But as far as the round itself, now it is to be considered a discontinued factory round unless somebody else comes back out. And you say, well, where did that come from? It was actually fairly popular among a cult following of people who shot Thompson Center contenders, encores, and other single shots. Well, Smith & Wesson bought Thompson Center a number of years ago. And within a couple of years, they completely shuttered the Thompson Center custom shop at Fox Ridge, and then completely shuttered all of Thompson Center production. So it's been a while since there's been a Thompson Center Encore, Contender, Compass, or any other Thompson Center rifles, pistols, or whatever else made. I don't think Smith & Wesson realized what kind of cult following that Thompson Center had. I mean, I've been shooting Thompson Center stuff since the 1990s. And Thompson Center had a thing going that was different from, say, H&R, CVA, and all the other single shots. And that's the lock and lugs are floating. The lock and lugs are not on the frame. The lock and lugs are on the barrel. And they're floating. And they're easily, you can file them or whatever else to make them fit. So instead of sending your barrel back to CVA or to H&R to have them fit the new barrel that you just picked up for whatever thing you're doing, you pretty much in your garage could kind of like make it work by just a little bit of hand fitting if you ever needed to do that. And I mean, I've got 16 barrels, I think it is, and 2 frames for Thompson Center contenders. And I think I've only had to fit 3 of them. The rest of them, you just snap them on and go bang. Go back to the 730 Waters. Why am I lamenting about the 730 Waters? And that's what this video is mainly about. The 730 Waters is probably what I would consider the cat's meow of a lightweight stalking rifle for the Southeast. It is a 30-30 case, neck to 7mm, with the shoulders blown out, and the body taper that's usually tapered on a 30-30 is blown straight. So it's almost as if he took his, Ken Waters, the designer, took his inspiration from the 30-30 Ackley Improved, the P.O. Ackley developed, and necked it to 7mm. That's kind of what he did. And there had been other Wildcats like it, but he did it, convinced Winchester to make some Winchester 94s in it, and they've made a few Marlin 336s in it, and Thompson Center made pistols and rifle barrels in it. Yeah, it was not a huge commercial success. But the Thompson Center stuff, everybody talked about, didn't it fail in the 30-30, it failed in the Model 94, and it failed in the 336. But it's a freaking hit among silhouette shooters and hunters in the contenders. I mean, my personal Thompson Center Contender carbine is 5.5 pounds, and it's small. It's little. I killed one of the biggest deer I've ever killed with it at 160 yards last year. It drives out of my gun over a chronograph, 21-inch barrel. The factories used, they tested 24s, and the factory ballistic said 2700. I was getting out of a 21-inch barrel, I was getting 2630 or so with a 120 grain factory load. And with my hand loads, the last one I chronographed was 140 grainer, and I was getting like 2450, which, you know, is decent. It's not bad at all. It's 140 grain bullet going 2450 out of a 21-inch barrel carbine, when a 30-30 lever action with a 20-inch barrel is giving 2,300 feet a second with the 150 grainer. I mean, it's going to shoot flatter, pack relatively the same amount of energy. You know, so it's a light gun that is going to do the job and be very effective for what it was designed to be. Ken Waters wanted a lightweight woods rifle that would shoot flatter than the 30-30. Does that perfectly. And out of a handgun, it is a great handgun hunting cartridge. You're talking about, I got a 14-inch barrel Thompson Center handgun, and with 140 grain bullets, I was getting 2,300 something feet a second, whereas, you know, my 30-30 Super 14, 2,100 feet a second. So, I mean, it works. It just does. So, I lament the fact that Federal has discontinued the ammunition. Smith & Wesson, who I like Smith & Wesson revolvers, especially old ones. But Smith & Wesson bought Thompson Center for their barrel works and their machining. They shuttered the company, shut down the Fox Rig Custom Shop, and got rid of the Contender, the Encore, and the Compass, and all the other stuff that Thompson Center had. And now they're trying to divest themselves of it. Luckily, SSK J.D. Jones has brought back the SSK 50, which is a G1 Contender. They're making it in stainless steel. It's $300 and something, like $375, $380 for a frame. A little bit more than what Thompson Center was selling them for originally, but not too far off. So if you're interested in getting in the Contender thing, finding a used Contender or a used Encore or a new SSK frame, get your name on the waiting list because they're still making them. There's a waiting period, but you can still get them. The 730 Waters, along with other cartridges, are in that belt, are really good for woods hunting and other things. Light recoil, accuracy, enough energy. You know, the 30, like I said, the 30-30 is a great handgun cartridge. I mean, out of a handgun, I'm getting 2,100 something feet a second with a 30-30 handgun. Think about it, you get a 30-30 rifle, you're getting 2,300 feet a second. You're losing 150 feet a second to go from a rifle to a handgun, So you're not losing a whole lot to go from 22 inches a barrel, 21 inches a barrel to 14 inches a barrel. You know, so it's highly effective as a handgun cartridge. But I would say that if you end up with a Contender frame, look at a 730 Waters barrel if you can find ammunition, or I would say if you handle it, because I don't think you're going to find much more ammunition. I've got several boxes of factory ammunition, and I don't shoot the factory as much. But I'm aggravated that now no factory ammunition makes it so that it's going to be really hard for other people to get into the 730 Waters unless you're a silhouette shooter, a hunter, a hand loader, or something else that is going to go that route to use the most effective tool. If I had my choice nowadays among single-shot handguns, single-shot rifles, if I had a CVA, I'm going to chamber in 708. 708 is available. 708 has more power than a 730 Waters. It's heavier, it kicks more, but in that class of cartridge, it's the closest thing you're going to get. I mean, you go with a 6.5 Creedmoor, which is really close to the 708, but I would go 708 over the 6.5 Creedmoor for most of those things. But anyway, I digress. And I hope you have a great evening, and this concludes my lament about why I'm aggravated that Federal and Smith & Wesson have basically killed the 730 Waters as a factory round. Have a good evening.